Right, here we have it. This is what I've ordered, and hopefully there should be a load of brake stuff in here, but we shall see. Right, this has come from our lovely people at, not that I'm endorsing them, but they're pretty good. I basically use, for day-to-day stuff for the mountain bike, Wiggle and CRC, Chain Reaction. Always on their sites, always getting updates on sales, bargains, things like that. So they've always got things on the go, and I can't fault them for their bits. They do this collect feature where they actually send out like a return sticker that goes on the box, and I think you have to drop it off somewhere. Yeah, drop off points. There's like 5,200. It's a good idea. That's the invoice. So in here we should have, yeah, XT brakes, the rotors, or the actual disc brake itself, the adapters, and the brake. Alright, that's that. So what have we got? We have got the adapters. These are basically what allow you to mount the size disc, so however big the rotor you're getting, say it's 160, 180, in this case 203, you'll have a particular type of mount for a 203 disc, so that is paired with that. And then these come in either post ISIS mount. There's like there's a mount where the bolts go in that way, and there's a mount where they go in that way, so it does pay to check. So there's two of those, front, rear, 203 SMMA. Yep, okay, hopefully they're the right ones. You always get these with Wiggle. Sweeties. It's always a plus in my book. Right, so we've got two of these disc rotors. These are the 6-bolt Shimano ice ones. I've already got on the bike. I've already got Avid discs, but I wanted new discs that hopefully aren't going to squeak like the others. And in these lovely, sexy black boxes, let's just kill that light. That's a bit better. So in here we should have pre-bled and all ready to rock and roll. Distractions on what we want, adding mineral oil and bleeding. These ones are different. Shimano, a lot of Shimano ones, they use mineral oil. Mineral oil is different to normal like .4 and .5. I think it's .4 and 5. Brake fluid. Normal brake fluid will strip off paint, rot things. It's generally quite nasty. Mineral oil isn't. Mineral oil is basically just like nice, normal, brilliant oil. So these are all the gubbins that you need. There's an olive in there, mounting bolts, some sort of pin, natural brakes. So here's the beast in silver, which looks jolly nice. XT brake pads already in. That's the thing I've got to do. I'm going to have to buy a load of brake pads, because all the brake pads I've got for the Avids that I've already had on my bike. The other two bikes, one's got X9s, one's got X5s I think, and the other one's got Haze. My Trekker's got Haze, but they're quite old. Good brakes, but they are going to need replacing. And I'm in an R-ing about whether to put. No, these are definitely going on the Banshee. Oh, and that's the other one with slightly different doodles. But no, hopefully that'll all be all sorted. Right, okay, that's that. Next one will be unboxing. Cheers, bye. Right, here we have the bike. Yeah, this has got. These are Elixir R's. They're, I think, the basic Avid jobbies. They've been alright, they're just a bit squeaky. It's got a 203 on the front and a 185, 160 on the back, but I've gone 203 front and rear for everything. So the next stage is going to be wheels off, brakes off, and then get the stuff out of the box. Right, let's have a closer look at the brake. They're a bit knackered, to say the least. They constantly squeak, constantly rub. I've bled them, re-bled them, unbled them. That's the front one. So as I say, the front's already a 203, but the back's a 185. So I'm upgrading it to 203 on front and rear. So next one's going to be stripping them off. Okay. Okay, so this is the front wheel with the old Avid rotors. There's 6 of these nuts and they're Torx bits, they're not Allen keys, and the Torx bit is different. It always pays if you want your kit to last. Get the right tools, get decent tools that fit, don't bodge it. So these, they normally have some sort of locking compound on these, so as you saw there, that's quite stiff. Yeah, there's that blue stuff. See that blue stuff? That's a locking compound that they put on these. There's no particular order that these have to come off in. And it's when they go back on that you've got to be careful. Because when you're putting the disc back on, if you get it slightly on the cock, if you just sort of go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what you can do is you can then induce like a twist in the disc, which you don't particularly want to do, because it will screw your braking up. So I'll do this and get back to you. Right, now you can see the rotors come off. So that's basically just come off of there. It's a bit rusty and a bit manky. It's actually quite heavy actually. And what it's done is it's exposed this mating surface, which is the surface that the disc actually sits on. What you need to do ideally is you can use a screwdriver or a flat chisel, but you have to be careful. Don't put any sort of force behind it, but loosely just scrape off any contaminant that might be on there that may stop the disc sitting flush. I go round this with a screwdriver just to get rid of the hard contaminant, and then I'll probably go around and actually clean it with some isopropyl and a rag. Some people say, oh, it's overkill, you don't need to do all that, you just give it a wipe, but if you're going to do it and you're going to take all this apart, you don't want to be putting it all back together again and keep taking it off, and etc. So I'll clean that up and then go on to the next step. Right, this is the new one. So that's roughly what they look like. So right, pop that out the bag. I've got my gloves on, and you want to keep mucky fingers away from the braking surface, which is the nice shiny silvery bit. So always grab it from the middle, only handle it in the middle. Yeah, you can sort of, as I say, people can say, well, yeah, you can touch it and just clean it off with brake cleaner or something, but I'd rather not. As a warning basically means read the instructions, but basically that goes on there, and then you bolt it in the pattern that it says in these important instructions that are possibly in 155 different languages. I had one the other week. I got the manual out and the manual was like 2 inches thick, and I just thought, oh wicked, there's going to be loads of stuff. It had near enough every single language on the planet, and it was only about 10 pages per language, so it was really basic. If you wanted the in-depth one, you had to go online. So you've got two. You've got mechanical disc brake, because again these could be fitted to a bike that's just got mechanical wire operated brakes rather than hydraulic, and I've got hydraulic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read all of the instructions. I know it's really simple, but there might be one little thing that you think, didn't think of that. So I read all the instructions and then I go through step by step by step fitting the brake. Yeah, they're in, is that French? I don't know, French, Italian, who knows, but these are the ones that I want. Okay, be back in a bit. Right, I've just noticed on these, when I unboxed it, you've got your screws with your Loctite or thread lock already on them, but you've also got 3 of these plates, and what they are, they've got marked top on one side. They're basically there's a little bit of spring steel, they're spring steel by the looks of it, and they've got a part that's been cut and moved up so that when you screw onto it, it pushes against the bottom of the bolt, because the bolt has got these little indentations on the bottom. So what happens is, as you bolt it on, it sort of locks. It's an additional lock as well as that blue Loctite, which I think is a brilliant idea. And again, Shimano are pretty good at what they do. They've been doing it for quite a few years. They might not be the most poncy pose on the mountain, but if you are a poncy pose mountain fashionista, then fine, go off and get your Hope or your Maguri or whatever they're called brakes, but these are tried and tested, and hopefully they'll be able to stop my mess. Okay, be back. Right, this is with the bolts in just finger tight. So you've got the plates, there's one there, one there, one there, that are going to lock those and those. When you tighten this up, basically you tighten it down so they're just pinching down, and then you sort of go diagonally. You go from there to there to there to there to there to there. You don't, because that can induce twist. On these particular brakes, this bit is a sort of anodized metal, but on there what you'll have a rotation indicator that will be like etched onto the brake. Make sure you look at that before you put it on. If you can't see any of this sort of stuff or any of this, you've obviously put it on around the wrong way, because if you look on the other side, there's nothing on there. There's none of this ice technology and all that. So make sure you put it on the right way, because these are directional. Okay, so that's them all done, down sort of like finger tight. So as I'm screwing this one in, this is the last one, I'm screwing it down. There'll be some resistance because it's got that thread lock on, but what you're listening for on this particular disc rotor, which is a Decor XT, it's an SM RT86 with ice technology, whatever that is. When you put those little plates on, you can tell they're the right way around because you can see top on them. But another final check when you're screwing it in, when it starts to get near, you hear that clicking? Right, so what I do is I tweak these down. What I do, you then have to go again, so you do exactly the same order, and now you just pinch them. So you just give it about a couple of mil on the turn, across, again, that's on there. Some may come with actual torque settings, so in that case you'll have to get a torque wrench, which is one of these. They come in all shapes and sizes. You normally tell a torque wrench because, where is it? You'll have these. It's basically got a handle that can wind in and out. You wind it up to the recommended torque setting, whether it's in foot-pounds or Newton meters. UK it would normally be Newton meters, and then you torque them so it clicks and stops. On this particular one, I haven't seen anything about torque settings. So that is that one done. So that's the front done. All I've got to do is exactly the same to the back. So I'll see you then. Just a note when you're taking these off, some of them have been coming off quite easy. This one will probably be fine, you watch. Others have been doing that, where you'll get a bang. All that's doing is breaking that lock, that thread lock that's on there. It's just breaking that, so don't worry. If you're having to put an extension bar on there and give it some, then yeah, that's obviously a concern. Everything I take out, basically a pot off of a spray can, everything just goes in there. Okay, so always keep your old nuts and bolts and everything that you take off, because 9 times out of 10 they're nice and round head and they'll roll off any sort of uneven surface. So that's that off. So that's the old rotor. That one was, what size is that? 185. That's 185. So that's a bit manky. It's actually quite scored as well. I don't know if you can focus on it, but there is quite some scoring on it. It's not too bad. You'll normally get that if you're in sandy or gritty areas. See, so you can actually tell the difference there between the two sizes. So that's the base. So you got your 2 bigger ones, and I've gone for basically 2 of these of the Shimano. Right, that's the back one done. I left the skewer in. Again, rotation mark, you can see the writing gone diagonally, got the 3 locks in. Next thing is going to be stripping off the brakes, fitting the spacers. Yeah, brakes are a right old Swiss, because you get these for different types, whether they're post mount or ice mount. Look, you've got all these different, is it a front, is it a rear, what size is it, is it P to S, P to P, S to P, S to it. Oh. So definitely do your own work. Again, if you feel that this is all beyond you and it's like too mega technical, down your local bike shop, let them do it. And when I say local bike shop, it pains me to say, because 2 of my bikes were bought from said outlet, Halfords. I'm not that impressed with their technical guys, or the guys that assemble the bikes. Yeah, they might be able to wield a spanner and assemble a bike, but they don't know nothing about safety. Because I had one that had, the first one, it had dodgy rear derailleur that wouldn't select properly, and the front forks were faulty, and the top cap, the adjuster for the the rebound, was loose and wobbly and almost falling off. And if they can't pick that up on an assembly, then what hope is there of them getting this right? Where this is critical. You're going downhill 30, 35 mile an hour, and you suddenly slam your anchors on, and suddenly this breaks or fails. Worst case scenario, it will just fail and your brakes will fail and you'll roll off the other end and think, oh, that was lucky. Worst case scenario, this will break, shatter, jam the wheel, and you'll be over the handlebars, and who knows what's going to happen. So talk to your mates, talk to people you know, and find your local bike shop. Okay, be back after I've disassembled the brakes. Okay, so this is the brake caliper off. Just make sure that you clean the surfaces here. There's going to be grit and crap on them, so just make sure you clean them. Again, with a screwdriver, being really careful, and then wipe them over with some glass cleaner on. Right, so here we have the rear brake. This one's got the 1.7 metre or 1700 mil line, which is a little bit long for my installation, so I may be shortening it. And you basically just get add in mineral oil and bleed in, etc. in 500 different languages. And then you've got the fitting instructions, I would have thought, on a sheet that's the size of a planet. Yep, again in 500, there we go. General safety, safety, then there is actual sort of the actual installation bit, which is handy. Okay, so I'll be cracking on with that. Okay, with the mount adapters, you've got your mount adapter, your 2 bolts that obviously bolt it. And you've got this wire as well. This wire, you can see on the diagram, stopping the adapter on the front fork and fixing bolts from loosening. Wire ring method. So you can use the wire ring method, so that's an additional adaptation, because you've got these holes that go through. So basically you'd put the wire through there, lock it off so that that wire as it's sticking through there and stops it twisting or coming undone. It's a belt and braces thing. It won't be needed, I don't think, but I'm gonna do it anyway as it's there. Yeah, so I'll be back. On the instructions there are, because I've now got my torque wrench with the 5mm Allen adapter in there. It says the adapter fixing bolts and the caliper fixing bolts. So that's basically, the adapter is the bolts that fit this to the frame or the fork, and then the caliper fixing bolts are the bolts that actually fix the caliper to this adapter. So I've got my scale and it wants 6 to 8. Well, the minimum of mine is 10, so if I just go shy of 10, I can then torque them up. Okay. As you can see, that's the caliper, the mount now fitted, and you've now got the wire that goes through the holes, round, down and back round. You make that as tight as you want. That's basically so that as long as that wire's there, they can't undo. It's a belt and braces thing. Some people say it's needed, some people say it's not, but it's up to you, and the instructions say to do it, so I'm just going to follow the instructions. Okay. Right, so that's it all fitted. Sorry about the lights, a bit contrasting out here. But yeah, that's it all fitted. The alignment. So you've got the lock wiring on there, this clamp which locks that top nut. So lock wiring on there, the clamp, those two, you torque those to 6 to 8, route the cable and lock it so it's locked in all of the right places. And as you say, you can see there's a fair old loop of cable, so what I'm going to do is adjust. You probably need to adjust it at that end rather than this end, so I can take all that play out so it's proper, but I'll get them in, bed them in, make sure they're all fine and working, then I can shorten that cable. All I've got to do now is do the front. Okay. Right, everything's done. This is now the cockpit sorted. I've gone outboard, with the brake lever nearest the pad. I prefer it because if I swap them round, I find the inside, because I've got relatively big hands that cover the full lever, if my hand's on the lever there, if those gears were to come in anymore, they'd be like sitting under my thumb, so I'd have to sort of be doing this to change gear, where with there I can easily put on 2 fingers onto the brake lever if I need to. Not that I normally will, but that will normally be 1 finger braking, just needs to adjust. There's on these brakes, these are XTs, there's a 3-stroke adjust screw. Doesn't really seem to do anything, but all this does is changes the span of where that sits, so depending on how long your fingers are. So that what you really want is that knuckly part of your finger wants to just hook over the end of the lever. So it's pretty ideal for me. I'm not sure if I will shorten that. Who knows? There's that. And don't forget kiddies, always carry a bell if you're on public places. A lot of mine's tow paths and things like that, so you get an awful lot of, I'm not going to call them gormless dog owners and gormless pedestrians and just gormless people, but you do get a lot of them. So yeah, that's it, all fitted and done. There's no rubbing at all. This has gone an absolute much better than I could have ever hoped. That's that one, and the back one, it's all routed and fitted, and there's nothing on there. They come with these, because you've got the wiring on there. The front caliper didn't come with wire, but it said you should wire it, but I'm not going to bother because my old one wasn't. It comes with these like lock-in retainers. as the air ambulance goes over, which are quite good. They're plastic, they won't fall off, I hope, because they're sort of like gripped on the inside, but they just sort of clip on and lock up against the caliper body. What else do I need to do? That's about it. I need to bed them in, obviously, but that's it, all fitted, done, dusted and sorted.